Hola amigos, I am Rodolfo Ramos, Bradesco BBI's Mexico strategist, and welcome to this What's What in Mexico, our bi-weekly video product to give you our latest views. So as you can see today, here in the East Coast, as soon as we get a little bit of hint of spring, we rush to the outdoors. So hopefully you enjoy this video. But as you can imagine, it has been a crazy week for us, and as we normally do, I'll stick to three topics. First, of course, we have the historic U.S.-Mexico agreement. Secondly, we have the most recent the recent resignation of the Minister of Finance, Rogelio Ramírez de la O. And thirdly, we're going to be covering just some preliminary thoughts on tax reform. So kicking off here with our first point, this historic U.S.-Mexico agreement. As you know, Donald Trump suspended the implementation of these 25% tariffs on Mexican imports or Mexican exports to the U.S. At the not really at the minute, but past the deadline. So it was very encouraging to see this agreement. As you know, most of trade does happen through USMCA, but there is about 10-12% of Mexican exports to the U.S. that are currently not complying with USMCA. Minister of Economy Marcelo Ebrard has already said that his team and himself would be working with companies, particularly in the automotive sector and auto parts sector, when they're not compliant with USMCA, either because of regional content rules that make the most favored nation more appealing, or other reasons, but they will have those discussions to make sure that the export market, Mexican export market, is not disrupted in the meantime. So this is great news for Mexico. And now we are looking to the next deadline, which is April 2nd, and where reciprocal tariffs go out to all of the U.S. trading partners. We're not as concerned for Mexico on this point, but there are, we do expect the USMCA review to really start kicking out right now. A lot of things are going to be touched there, and we do believe that Donald Trump is going to continue vying to bring more investments and more production capabilities back to the U.S. So we think that there will be an interesting push and pull on that front. We also have, of course, this push from the U.S. side for Mexico to sideline Chinese participation in the region through exports. So this is something also that there's going to be put on the table, and we do believe that Mexico has shown that it has been willing to comply with some of those requests. So we are constructive on the overall, in the end product or the outcome of all of these negotiations, but we do believe is going to be volatile, as the last couple of months have been, which is why we've continued to be a little bit more defensive as to our exposure to investments. But we'll keep you posted on all these discussions evolve. Of course, the Ministry of Economy, the USTR, Secretary of Commerce, they're going to be having much closer discussions in the coming weeks. So this is going to be, of course, a very dynamic area that will keep you. We'll be sure to keep you posted. So the second point here that I wanted to discuss is the resignation of Minister of Finance Rogelio Ramírez de la O. Of course, we appreciate the timing of this resignation. After this historic agreement, we know that that he has also played a role on the international scene. This timing and is very much appreciated, and also Claudia Sheinbaum expressed that during her formal appointment of his successor. And to the extent now that he's going to be remaining as an advisor on economic and international matters to the president directly. So this is encouraging, and Mexico, of course, is going to need all the help it can get to deal with these upcoming negotiations with the U.S. So this is great news for Mexico, that he'll be remaining in this advisory role with the administration. And now to his successor, Edgar Amador. He is currently the Undersecretary of Finance. He has been promoted to be the Secretary of Finance, the Minister of Finance. And, we see as now someone, Claudia has someone at the helm in finance that is of her own choosing. He, of course, has a long track record as an economist in public and private sector, and we wish him all of the best and success in his new role. And for us, I think it's going to be the most defining factor in Amador's tenure. Could be the presentation of the federal budget in April 1st. This is going to be now done under his leadership, and this will give us a very clear view of what are their priorities, how are they looking at finances in 2026, particularly with how we've seen this economic deceleration and the potential impact that it could have on finances. And of course, the very important social priorities and agenda that the President, Claudia Sheinbaum, has ahead of her. So this is something that is going to happen on April 1st, and we'll be very closely watching how this event unfolds. And now to close here on the third point on tax reform, I mean, this is all very, very related. Government officials for quite some time, they have avoided the talk of a tax reform, but we do believe that it's inevitable, and right now there are some discussions happening as to a tax reform to ensure that the government has enough firepower to enact counter-cyclical measures, should things on the macro side continue to deteriorate. So we do believe that these discussions are going to ramp up. Of course, the precritérios are going to perhaps give us some hints, but also now as Secretary of Finance, Amador's comments, of course, are going to be very important to closely track. We do believe that Claudia Sheinbaum is a pragmatic leader, but that she does believe wholeheartedly in the left and more progressive ideals. So we do expect a more progressive tax reform should it come, and it will be very important for us to see which sectors are going to be affected, if any, and what kind of reform will we see. We have seen recently the local Congress in Mexico City start discussing about an inheritance tax. Of course, this has ruffled a lot of feathers, but it will be a very dynamic process. But Claudia Sheinbaum, with an 85% approval rating, also has much more maneuvering room to navigate a tax reform as well. Normally, they're politically costly. So some of the things that we're keeping track of here. So that's basically what we had for you today. Hopefully you found it useful, and reach out to us if you have any other questions, and have a great week, everybody. Take care, amigos. Ciao, ciao.